Perhaps you've heard of it, like on TV or something. At this point, I think we're all pretty much at saturation on climate change. For the past 10 years, it's been all day and all night on the news.
Climate change is a global warming trend.
Climate change.
Global warming.
Climatic changes.
Climate change.
Climate change is real.
Climate change is coming to blow up your house and eat your dog.
So basically, I'm not gonna be needing that anymore, and I'm not gonna be needing that. But what does it even mean? And what does what it means mean? And should you even care? Yeah, you should care. I realize that climate change is one of those things that some people don't believe in. Specifically, there are people who challenge the widely held belief that it's getting hot in here, which I think was firmly established by Nelly in 2002, just before he requested that we take off all our clothes. And that, unfortunately, turns out to not be a particularly effective strategy to combat global warming. Fun, though. Actually, some of the deniers agree that it's getting warmer. They just disagree that the cause is the way that we, as humans, live our lives. Which is understandable, I guess, because who wants to believe that their actions are hurting other people in the world and other generations as well? You know, besides rational, responsible, adult people who want to do the right thing, if at all possible. And what are we doing that's so wrong? Well, in the immortal words of one of my heroes, Nancy Sinatra, we've been messing where we shouldn't have been a messin'. So when people talk about global warming, they're basically talking about the fact that over the last 100 years or so, the average temperature of the Earth has increased by about 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit. And most of that increase has happened in the last 30 years or so. So here's how you should be thinking of the Earth. It's a beautiful, precisely calibrated and self-regulating machine. And it's more complex and amazing than we will ever be able to understand. Seriously, you guys, it's a friggin' masterpiece. But let's say that a terribly intelligent group of animals on its surface starts to drastically alter the composition of its atmosphere. In that case, all of those elegant and beautiful self-regulating systems start to go all screwy. Stuff that seems totally inconsequential, like rain falling a few weeks later than it otherwise would, can affect when the streams are full, which changes when the plants bloom, which changes when the insects hatch, and that could affect historically synchronized pollination of crops, and fish spawns, and bird migrations, and water supplies for drinking and irrigation. What we're seeing now, with just over 1 degree difference in the temperature of the Earth, is significantly affecting our weather already. Some places are flooding, some places are experiencing record droughts, we're seeing ice caps melting and the historic ranges of animals and plants either shrinking or expanding. So there's enough water locked up in the ice on our planet that if it all melted, we'd pretty much all be in some serious trouble. Here in the US, we can expect to see New Orleans underwater, parts of the Bay Area, a lot of New York City, but worldwide, it's actually looking a lot worse than that. Entire island nations like the Philippines and Indonesia would lose all of their fresh water supplies, and it's possible that they would need to be entirely evacuated within this century. Many of the largest countries in the world, like Bangladesh, Vietnam, India, and China, all have very high populations living in very low-lying urban areas. And all of that is to say nothing of the diverse and vital ecosystems that could be completely destroyed in the event of a large magnitude sea level rise.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kinda funny, I find it kinda sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And to feel the way that every child should sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me.
Because you have air conditioning. And so it's not too big of a deal if the world gets super hot. But you know who doesn't have air conditioning? Cucumbers. And cows and other stuff that we like to eat. Those things have to be outside. That's how they work. And so they care if suddenly everything gets super hot and dry. And right now, a lot of the wealth and a lot of the people in the world are distributed in the places where there's really good growing conditions. And as the Earth continues to warm, places with historically really amazing growing conditions like Central California could become lifeless hellscapes. And that would be a perfect habitat for zombies, but not so good for cabbages and strawberries. And by the time we reach something as subtle as a 3-degree increase in global temperatures, which scientists say could happen as soon as 2100, Saskatchewan could be the next Central California. And all of the Fertile Crescents of the world may stop bringing forth their marvelous bounty. And what always comes along with poor growing conditions and drought? Well, you get famine. And you also get his brother horseman, war.